So how about let's talk complexity and multiple cohorts, and the age of well, not just adaptive design, but basket trials are becoming much more popular, especially in the biotech world and oncology for sure, and other TAs. How does Maestro handle those, especially from benchmarking?
We are also learning, so I don't want to claim perfection in anything because this is organic growth. And there's been, as much as COVID changed the world significantly in the last 2 years, there have been significant changes in or added complexity in the study design. We think the principles hold the same way. When you have more cohorts, you actually have to start and stop your trial more times, and you can do scenarios. Scenario 1, 2 cohorts. Scenario 2, 5 cohorts. And then you answer the question, what if? What if it's parallel? What if sequential? What if I do this? What if I do that? So to me, it goes beyond a benchmark. It goes to a little bit study operational modeling, and being able to use tools that are going to get you to the what if scenario is very important. We also are looking at capturing data upfront from CRO proposals or from other service proposals in an anonymized fashion. But we know that studies, adaptive is going to change 50 billion times, through the end. The good news is that through our lead module, we are actually starting to get data from completed contracts. And that is significantly more interesting. But because we are a young company, we don't have enough completed contracts in our database. That is to say that over time, getting more nuanced on complexity, it's going to be getting better and better, regardless of the tool, the modeling tool you use. It's a bit of an evolving exercise. But today you can do lots of what if scenarios with high level of accuracy. What you choose in the end, it may be different, but I think that guidance, it's very important, and you can achieve it today. Precision of how many cohorts would be the ideal study scenario. Well, we can look at using AI and other solutions that can actually be predictors of optimal design. So there was no question actually from our customers about AI, but maybe we'll do a whole different webinar just to talk about how we are thinking of using it, and the very interesting ways in which you can use the data to become not just give you the what if scenario, but to give you optimization based on conditions. So what if I only have $10 million and I can only, I only have 18 months, what is the most that I can do? And maybe there are some designs you cannot do.
So how about this?
Sorry, can I jump in real quick on the therapeutic area piece, because we didn't really tie off on that. And it's funny to me because this is such a progressive industry. Life sciences is always on the bleeding edge of technology and science and forward thought, but we are really backwards thinking in how we treat therapeutic areas. Because although therapeutic areas can be a cost driver, it's not for the reason most people expect. So for example, we always hear oncology trials are expensive. They are, but it's not simply because it's oncology, it's because it's a complex trial and there's a volume of procedural due diligence that has to go into it, because an MRI costs what an MRI costs. It doesn't matter what the therapeutic area is going to be. Your geography in that case has much more impact on cost than any therapeutic area. So where therapeutic areas really drive costs is going to come down to those strategic decisions. Does a particular patient population need added support? Geriatric populations, for example, we always pick on the geriatric populations around DCT, but that's the reality of it. Some of those populations may be less inclined to do like a DCT model. They may need added transportation costs. Obviously, if there's multiple languages, translation costs. Pediatrics is notorious for added procedures. So complexity and study design actually drive costs way more than therapeutic area. And this is an area that we've really staked a stake in the ground on, because we recognize that our thought process here is disruptive, but the industry needs to change. We have been going by the same playbook for 30 years now, and it's not gotten us any closer to solving those problems. And I really think that we have to look at therapeutic area in a much different way than what we've been doing when it comes to cost.
Yeah, we get the question all the time, do you have experience in rare diseases? And I know myself, I worked at BioMarine at a great time in the evolution of the company. And I will ask anyone, what's rare diseases? Because there aren't two the same. And I've seen one that were, okay, yes, always hard to recruit. But it's not, a rare disease is not a therapeutic area. It really isn't. No. Nor is it a particular indication, nor are they two alike, but they have common things. So it's, again, it's the ability to model their uniqueness, their complexity, their that is really relevant, because I don't think there is such data as rare disease data. It's know-how on how to execute on a disease that probably that there's none comparable to it.
That's
The
right.
problem is they're used to being ignored by the rest of the industry.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Correct. But from a benchmarking perspective, it's how it's doing the what if scenarios that's going to drive the cost. It's not a sliver of data that this is the bucket of rare diseases. It really doesn't mean much.
I agree.